Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Mueller, and I just want to say thank you for being here. And I'm very excited to be speaking with you today. I know whether you're watching this or listening to this, we have people from all walks of life and all levels in the business that are here today. And so I just want to say welcome and thank you for being here. Whether you just started in the last few days or last few weeks or last few months with Cutco, or you've been here for a number of years with Cutco, whether you are already doing really well with Cutco and you've got that next level and that you could break through to, but you're just still trying to figure out how to break through to that, or you're a person who's actually maybe even struggling or still doing the hard work to try to figure this stuff out, or you're somewhere in between, you're on your way up. I just want to say that I'm proud of you for being here, and I'm excited to be with you today. In fact, you could be out making money right now selling Cutco, but instead you're choosing to be here today to learn, to grow yourself personally and professionally, and that says a lot about you. And I just want to say that regardless who you are, regardless where you're at, when you take that commitment to personal and professional development and you combine it with hard work, resilience, and resourcefulness, you're going to get everything that you really want out of this business, especially if you stick around for the long term. I've been selling Cutco since 2001. I started when I was in college, when I was 20 years old. I really had no business getting into business. In fact, I wasn't very good at the job when I first started. I hadn't really sold anything before that. My experience before that, I had gotten good at public speaking while I was in school because I did it competitively. I was on the ski team in school, so I was okay at that, I guess. Wasn't the best on the team, though. Ultimately, like the only thing I was really good at was things that were not legal. In fact, when I started with Cutco, I was on probation, and I really took the job because I needed the money. And I had a good friend who had worked all summer and made some decent money doing this, and I couldn't get a job anywhere else. And so Cutco was the only place that would really hire me and give me an opportunity. So I went for it. The thing I had working for me was that I had a very strong work ethic. I really saw this opportunity as a job, a full-time job. And so I decided that I was going to work hard and that I was going to follow the program. And what I learned was that if I worked harder than everybody else in my office and I just did what my manager told me to, I did what I was learning on PDI, I did what I learned in training, that I could be successful. Now, I'm a slow learner, so it took me a little while to get there. My average order was $180. That's like a 2-knife order nowadays. And that was that way for a couple of years. I was also, my closing ratio was like 60%. So, I wasn't very good at closing most people. A lot of people were still not buying from me. And even the people who were not buying a lot on average from me. I still sold some sets here and there, but mostly like single pieces and 3-piece specials and things like that. But you know what? I really worked hard at the job and I did well over the course of time. I learned from other people. I went to conferences like this. I came to team meetings. I PDI'd my manager after every single appointment. And over the course of a few years, I learned little bit by little bit what I could do to get better and better and better. And fast forward, almost 20 years later, and I've sold, $6.2 million worth of Cutco. I've won a few national championships. I've set a bunch of records. And now Amy and I personally sell over $500,000 a year in Cutco for, more years than most other people in the business in a row. And my wife and I run multiple businesses, and we live a really great lifestyle. And I'm very proud of that because it's been a lot of hard work over the years, but it's also been something that's been a product of just attention to consistent and continual personal and professional development, consistently learning what the best of the best in the business are doing and then implementing that into my business and replicating it. So my highest hope for you during my message today is that by the time we're done together, that you're able to take away some golden nuggets, some things that will help you be more confident and take more pride in what you do, some things that will help you maximize your results when you see people who already have Cutco so that you can maximize your results with Cutco owners. And also a few golden nuggets that could help you maximize the number of referrals that you're getting, whether you're doing things virtually or you're doing things face-to-face right now. And so really what you need to do to get the most out of my message today is really just be here, be fully present. I'm going to challenge and encourage you to take good notes. I'm going to challenge and encourage you. I'm going to invite you to play full out. What does that mean? That means like, hey, if I ask a couple questions, maybe write down your answers to those questions. Don't just hear the questions and take them in, but actually answer the questions. And most importantly, go implement the things that you're learning, right? Whatever nuggets there are today. In fact, I challenge you or invite you right now to take out a sheet of paper, and if you haven't done it already, create a nuggets list, like a nuggets page. And anytime that you hear something where you're like, oh, I should be doing that, whether it's during my message or any other message that you hear today, I challenge you, I invite you to write that down on your nuggets list so that you don't lose track of it. Most people never implement what they learn because they never go back and look at their notes. Their notebook just goes on a shelf and it collects dust, and that's unfortunate, right? I've gone back. I'm guilty of it too. I've gone back through my notebooks and I've looked and I've been like, oh my gosh, I never implemented that. All because I never had a nuggets list. But once I started creating my nuggets list, or what I call an actions list, those are the things I write down during a conference. Those are the things I implement. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. So we're going to talk about 3 things today. The 3 things we're going to talk about is the importance of taking pride in what you're doing and how that increases your confidence and how your confidence will increase your sales. We're also going to talk about how to maximize results with Cutco owners. I'm going to give you some pro tips that you can use every time you see somebody who has Cutco to help you get even bigger sales even more often with people who already have our product. And then I'm also going to share with you a few pro tips that I personally use to maximize the number of recommendations that I'm getting, especially in the virtual world today. So number 1, let's dive right into taking pride in what you're doing. I want you to write this down. Confidence is key. Confidence is key. Confidence in yourself, confidence in your product, confidence in what you're doing for people. It leads to closing sales faster and closing sales bigger more often. I can personally say that if the person trying to help me invest hundreds or thousands of my dollars is not 100% confident in what they're doing or what they're selling, to me, or even how they're doing it, I'm definitely not going to feel confident and comfortable as a customer making that investment with that person. In fact, if I really love their product or really love their service, I might even do more research on my own and choose to invest my dollars with someone else who is 100% confident in what they do. So personally, I love representing Cutco. At first I was the kid that was teased by my friends. People call me Knife Boy. It sucked at first, but I very quickly realized that I didn't need to care about what other people thought or were saying to me about the job that I had. It didn't take long for me to have a better schedule and a better income than most of my friends. And in fact, after a few years, I was making more income than many of my clients were. And at about year 7, I didn't even need to consider when other people came to me with job offers because they could never compete with the flexibility that I get. They could never compete with the income, the lifestyle that I was really able to maintain. And every year since then, because of my hard work, my commitment to personal and professional development, I've been able to do better and better and better. So why would you not take pride in what you do when that's the opportunity that you have, right? You get to decide how hard you work. You get to decide how good you get. You get to decide how much income you make. That's a really great opportunity, and that's the benefit of taking on the risk of being a business owner and an entrepreneur. Now, that's just us, but the real reason I'm proud of the real reason I feel we should all be proud of what we're doing is because of what we do for our customers. Think about it. We sell world-class product backed by a best-in-class guarantee made by a world-class company. We get to represent an American company and mainly American-made products. Our customers who buy our product, they have it, they use it every day, they love it, and they use it for the rest of their lives. In fact, not just their lives, but for generations to come. I have over 10,000 clients in 49 states and 6 countries now, and it's crazy. I've met judges who have literally walked up to me and been like, will you please tell me why, out of all things people could have fought about in divorce court, the only thing that they fought about, not their house, not their money, not even custody of the kids, the only thing they fought about was their Cutco. I don't get it. What is it? And then, of course, you show that judge that Cutco, and they're like, whoa, I'm blown away, and they get it, and they buy it, and it's awesome, right? But I can share with you stories, hundreds and hundreds of stories of people I've met over the years who have Cutco, love Cutco, and who tell me every single day that it's made such a huge difference for them. It's the only thing I've ever done where my customers will spend hundreds or thousands or even sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. My number one customer is approaching $100,000 spent on Cutco over the last 10 years. And it's the only thing I've ever done where people will literally hug me, thank me. They will spend all this money, invest all this money with me, and they will appreciate me for what I've done for them. And you may not have those stories yet yourself, but I promise you, if you work hard enough and you stick around long enough, you will have those same experiences as well. You can't help it. I mean, heck, when we all get to go back and start working shows again, and those of you who qualify to be a part of your events team, it's going to be pretty crazy. Like, that's where people really get sold on taking pride in what they do, because in a day, literally, you might meet 100 people who walk by the booth display saying how much they love their Cutco, how long they've had it, and everybody's got stories. I mean, sure, there's those people once in a while, the very small percentage where something was wrong, something didn't go the way that they expected, something happened that, that maybe wasn't the best service. But even those people, we have the opportunity to solve problems for, get taken care of, and create raving fans out of again, just by providing them with world-class service. It's never because Cutco didn't take care of them, or never because, the product wasn't great. But again, in any manufacturing and any service company, not everybody's perfect. No company's perfect. And so, customers have bad experiences once in a while, but it's very, very rare. It's so rare compared to most other companies that, it's easy to see why people love Cutco. It's easy to take pride in it. And what I love is that, if a customer really does have a legitimately bad experience, well, we can solve that for them and trust that our company is going to make it right for them. And that's just amazing, because there's not that many companies out there that are like that. So let's talk about number 2. Well, before we do, let me just sum this up by saying, I really do believe that taking pride and having confidence in what you do is a major, major influencer on what our customers decide to do with us. Our company chooses people over profits all of the time. They always choose to do the right thing. Since we're all salespeople here, I think it's important to know that when we show a high level of pride in ourselves, confidence in ourselves, and in what we do, that confidence is contagious, and our clients really see it. They feel it. They actually begin to want to experience that same level of confidence and pride too, and it helps them feel even more confident and comfortable choosing to invest with you because of how you choose to show up in what you do every day. In the beginning, you might have to fake it until you make it, but that's easy to overcome if you simply choose to work harder and to find enough stories so that you can genuinely feel that pride and that confidence too. So make that a goal of yours. I challenge you to do that if you haven't felt it already. Choose to take pride in what you do at a higher level than you do right now. Number 2, let's talk about pro tips for working with Cutco owners. I challenge you to take a bunch of notes here, because I'm going to ramble through this as quickly as I can, because there's a lot of information, but we're going to go from start to finish. What does it take to maximize results with Cutco owners? So just like everyone you meet with, you want to be confident, you want to be enthusiastic, and you want to make sure you build rapport and share your goals while also planting seeds for referrals. That's the beginning of any appointment that you do, whether it's a demo for a new person, whether it's face-to-face or virtual, or it's something work that you're doing with a Cutco owner. But with Cutco owners, you can do a normal demo like you would for a new client, but it's actually a lot more fun to do something that is special and that you can really only do for a Cutco owner. So let's talk about that. So number 1, during rapport building, get a testimonial from your clients. Ask these questions first. I ask 4 questions. These are 4 key questions. It helps bring Cutco top of mind. Helps them it helps them get thinking about what they love about it, how long they've had it, why they love it so much, and whether or not they would recommend it to other people. So psychologically, it gets them in a really great place, exactly where you want them to be right at the beginning of the experience before you go into the sales experience. So when I find out somebody has Cutco, here's the 4 questions I always ask. How long have you owned your Cutco? I want to know. How many years has it been, right? Get them thinking about that. What have you liked best about your Cutco? That gets them thinking about their favorite things about Cutco. How did you first hear about it? Do you remember? This gets them thinking back to the initial experience. It takes them back to that moment where they're like, gosh, man, yeah, my friend told me about it. It was really expensive. I wasn't really sure. I was kind of nervous, but I did it anyways. You know, you get into that story. Plus, that's really good information for you to know when you're asking for referrals later. And of course, number 4, would you recommend Cutco to others? I mean, if they really truly love it, they will. If they don't, if there's something wrong or an issue that they have, it's in asking these 4 questions where that's going to come up. You want that to be something that comes up at the beginning so you can solve the problem now and then have a happy customer that you go into the sales experience with, versus never asking any questions, never even knowing that there's an issue, and only finding out at the very end after you've gone through the whole experience with them. So now, after I've asked these questions, I always ask this. So think about it. How long have you had it? How do you like it? What's been your favorite thing about it? How'd you first hear about it? Do you remember? Would you recommend it to others? Well, those are also 4 great questions that stage up a testimonial. All the information you get from them is the perfect testimonial right there. So then I just ask this question, hey, would you be willing to jot that down for me, Sally, so that I can show other people I talk to who've never heard of Cutco what our actual clients like to have to say about it? I mean, our most powerful salespeople, our best salespeople are our own clients, right? So why not get them writing things down? Now, if you just come right out the gates and say, hey, would you be willing to write down a testimonial? They may not be, like, more people will tell you no, simply because they don't know what to say. But when you ask these 4 questions and then ask them to write a testimonial, you could literally say, like, oh, by the way, what you just told me is perfect. You could write that down. And they're like, oh, great. Most people will say yes. Some people will say no, and that's okay. You don't have to try to force it. But I've got literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of handwritten letters. In fact, I'll show you. This is my testimonial book that I carry with me on all of my demos, all of my presentations. It's just got letters and letters. It's got hundreds and hundreds of people on a list telling me how long they've had their Cutco. So why not get that? It's such a powerful tool, and it will help you sell so much more. All right, so also, when you're meeting with Cutco owners, the next thing you want to do is you want to not only get them thinking about and talking about the great investment that they made and their experience that they've had up to this point, but you also want to ask them what they use each of their products for. So you go through all of their pieces, piece by piece, and you find out, hey, what do you use this for? What do you use that for? What do you use this for? What do you use that for? And then while you're doing that, you want to celebrate the things that they're doing correctly with their knives, and then also educate them on why certain knives are not made for certain things that they may do with them. And so what happens is that, you know, at the same time that you're educating people, you can then also create a need or desire for things that they don't already have, suggestions that you might have for them. This is where you become consultative instead of a salesperson. So for example, when people tell me all the things they use their paring knife for, I get excited for them because they're using it. That's awesome, right? It's great. It makes sense for people to use the investment. But I also let them know that the paring knife is the most overused knife. So in fact, most people I meet have 5 or 6 paring knives, which is exactly why we offer 6 different designs. Then I'll just ask, you know, some do you ever questions. Hey, do you ever cut on the cutting board with your paring knife, or do you just do it in the air, or do you do a little bit of both? Do you ever cut things like peaches, avocados, or strawberries, or apples? You know, things that have cores, or things that have, things that you need to cut out of them. Most people say, yeah, of course. I go, great. So before we're done, I'll be sure to tell you about the other options that you have on the paring knives that will help you even better with all of those jobs. Sound good? Okay, cool. Another great example is like when people tell me about all the crazy things that they cut with their chef knife, right? So like meats and melons and hard squashes and stuff like that. So I, again, celebrate that they use it so much, and then I educate them by saying, hey, the chef knife is actually the most misused knife in people's kitchens. See, it makes sense why people grab it for all the big stuff because it's the big knife, but it's actually made for all the fine dicing and slicing and chopping of vegetables and stuff like that. So when you cut things like meats or frozen things or hard squashes, that can chip or crack the edge, which obviously you don't want to do. So here's the cool thing, right? I'll be sure, like, do you ever cut frozen meat? Do you ever barbecue? Do you ever, cut up ribs, briskets, chickens, turkeys, things like that? You do? Okay. Well, I'll be sure to show you the other knives that we have that are designed for cutting up meats or doing your barbecuing and stuff like that before we're done. Sound good? Okay, great, right? You can do this with every single knife. Now, it requires you learning all of the different things that all of the different knives are for. But the idea here is simple. Learn what they use each of their current knives for so you can celebrate them using their Cutco, and then educate them, which they greatly appreciate, by the way, and then ask some quality questions to get them telling you what kinds of foods they do cut up with all the knives they have, which will give you the chance to plant seeds for other suggestions that you'll be able to share with them. So after I've gone through everybody's knives, then what I do with Cutco owners is I review the guarantee, because I want to rebuild value in the multi-generational investment that they're making with Cutco. I want to remind them that they're not just investing in Cutco for them, they're investing in Cutco for generations, right? And then we go right into the catalog, which this is where we really get from service into, more of a selling approach. So at this point, we've planted seed, we've built rapport, we've got them talking about their Cutco, we've got them, writing a testimonial. We've reviewed everything that they have. We've even planted seeds for referrals at the beginning, which I'll talk a little bit more here in a minute about when we get to the referral part. But now what we're going to do is we're going to move into, we've rebuilt value in the guarantee, and now what we're going to do after educating them and celebrating them is we're going to talk about upgrades. So whatever they have, I say, hey, by the way, Sally, the collection or the set that you have here is what most of our clients like to start with when they get Cutco, because it's easy to get used to. And that said, what most of my clients are actually working towards is what we call our Cutco kitchen system. It's designed to help you replace all of the main components of your kitchen with products made by an American company that you can be confident you'll have for the rest of your life. No matter where you move, no matter what your kitchen looks like, you'll always have the best. It makes sure that you have the perfect knife set, the perfect cookware set, and the perfect flatware set, plus all the gadgets and serving tools for you and the cooking you do for the rest of your life. The first thing my clients usually start with is our upgrade program, which you are a perfect candidate for. Can I show you really quick how that works? So again, you just built a bunch of value in a really big package like the Cutco kitchen, and then you narrowed it in to the upgrade program, which is perfect for them and what most people are building towards. Anytime you talk about what most people are doing, you're using what I call the bandwagon effect. And most people want to be on the bandwagon. They want to do what everybody else is doing, right? And so you use the bandwagon effect to get them to say yes or be interested in seeing what the upgrade's all about. Then you just show them the suggested knives that you have for their collection based on all the questions you asked them earlier. So you might have 4 or 5 different knives that you're going to suggest for them based on what you learned earlier. Plus, then you can show them the rest of the knives in the ultimate set, and then you just position the ultimate set as the best set, right? People don't buy the ultimate set because they're going to use a cleaver every day. People buy the ultimate set because they want the full toolbox, because they want every knife that they could ever need for the rest of their life, because they entertain, because they barbecue, because they want the best of the best. That's why people buy the ultimate. They buy it because of the concept that it is the complete knife set. And then the great thing is you can tell Cutco owners that the benefit is that since they already own Cutco and already have some Cutco, they can actually customize their upgrade so it has the perfect setup for them. So if they have a homemaker set, you just have to find 9 other pieces that they could get excited about. A longer paring knife, a smaller chopping knife, the 3 different barbecue knives, the thin slicer is the fillet knife, that's 6, right? The vegetable knife for those really hard squashes and stuff, that's 7. The bird's beak paring knife, maybe even another paring knife, 8, 9, boom, just like that. Now they have a customized ultimate set to themselves. And you just help them understand. You get a bigger block that holds everything you currently have, plus all the new customer favorites, 4 more table knives, and it has a place for your scissors, right? Super easy to do. Super easy to position. And then it's really simple. You just give them a discount, or you give them a couple freebies, whatever you normally do on your demos, right? To make them feel really great about the deal, and then you close that deal. Also, you also want to always be sure to be planting seeds for the other packages, cookware, flatware, accessories. You never know what they may be interested in, but if you show every package to every client every time, then if there is something that they're considering or needing for themselves or a gift, they'll mention it, and then you can show it to them. So who knows? You might even close some bundle deals. You might even, you might even close some extra packages. Maybe they're not interested in new knives or an upgrade because they love the set they have, but they hear about flatware and they're like, oh, tell me more about that, right? And then you close a flatware set to somebody who you might have only, sold a gadget or two to instead. So I'd rather sell that flatware chest, give them the 2 gadgets for free, right? Or sell the cookware set and give them the kitchen tools set that they don't have yet for free because maybe they chose the shears when they bought their galley set, or they don't even have a galley set. So now the whole idea is this: every package, every client, every time, sell the upgrade. And then when you're all done showing the catalog, build wish lists with Cutco owners. And then when you build that wish list, always close on the whole wish list, regardless of what they told you. Oh, I'm not buying anything today. Oh, I'll get that paring knife, but I'm not getting anything else, whatever. I always just say, hey, you know what? Let's build a wish list for you. This will be fun because we'll play the if Cutco were free game. So Sally, if Cutco was free, what would you eventually want to have, or what would you actually use either for yourself or for a gift? We go back through the catalog, we build up that wish list. And then I say, cool, just for fun, let me go ahead and show you what all of this would look like if you did get it all today. Again, it's totally up to you. There's no pressure here. I just want you to see what it would look like. And I price out that whole wish list and I show them, here's what it would normally cost. Here's our package price that you can get because you're a Cutco owner. And then here's the little bit extra special I'm going to do for you because I want to earn your business. I want to be your Cutco guy. Plus, check this out. You save this much and you can also split it in 2, 3, or 5 charges, no interest. I mean, Sally, here's the deal. If you see yourself eventually getting these things and you're going to use them and you can swing this in the budget now, it just makes sense to go ahead and get it now while you can take advantage of whatever I'm presenting to them or offering them in terms of a deal or special or extra bonuses or whatever. And you can get excited about that. And you know what? Worst case scenario, they say, no, that's good. I appreciate the offer, but I just really can't do that right now. Best case scenario, they go, you know what? That is a really good deal. Yes, I can swing that since I can do it in the payments. Let's go ahead and do it. And because you had the confidence and you took pride in what you do and you show everybody their whole wish list no matter what, and trust that the drop down process and the objection cycle process that you already know how to do, you just trust in those things to do the work for you instead of making the decision for the customer, boom, you get more bigger orders more often because of that, right? So even when a customer says, like, I'll just buy this paring knife, how much is this paring knife? We'll be like, oh yeah, that paring knife's only $10,000. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it's $10,000, but you get the whole rest of your wish list for free, plus everything else in our catalog. And they're like, ha ha ha, that's hilarious, right? But then I can get to real talk. No, here, let me ask you this: are you just really saying that this is a little bit more than what you feel comfortable spending right now? And they go, yeah, it kind of is. Oh, okay, cool. Well, hey, I don't want you to be stretching the budget beyond what beyond what you're comfortable with. But I do want you to maximize your value and get the most that you can here today while I've got my specials going on, or while I'm in this big contest and I'm incentivized to help you out, or while I'm at this show trying to break a record and we're, and every order counts right now. So we're doing a little bit extra special stuff. So, and then the last pro tip I'll give you with Cutco owners, always talk about gifts. My favorite thing to say that opens this door is, hey, once my clients are done investing in Cutco for themselves, that's when they start investing in Cutco as gifts for family and friends. I mean, it really makes sense when you think about it, Sally, because it's the only thing you can give someone that they're guaranteed to use almost every day and that they'll have for the rest of their lives. And we did all the research already, Sally. 100% of people eat food, so they'll always need knives to cut it up. Big smile, right? And then just ask questions like, do you have any weddings coming up? Do you ever do your holiday shopping early? Do you ever do your birthday, Christmas shopping early? Do you ever do your wedding shopping early? Do you ever do your anniversary shopping early? I love this question. Is there anyone on your gift list who's always hard to buy for? Ask some more questions, dig in, find a need, fill that need. And if you can solve the most difficult person on their gift list with a gift, well, then the whole rest of the family and friends are all going to kind of fall into place. You can start asking more questions like, cool, who else is hard to buy for? Who else do you buy gifts for? Because if you can help them find a sensible gift for somebody that's hard to buy for, well, then it's going to be really easy for you to help them find gifts for all of the other people and then knock out all their gift shopping in just one 5-minute conversation. I mean, and finally, just remember, with Cutco owners, have fun, right? Why not have fun? Like, you both have something in common. You both have an affinity for a world-class product backed by a world-class guarantee and made by a world-class company. Why not get excited about that? All right, so number 3, let's talk about maximizing recommendations virtually. So here's what you got to do with recommendations. If you want to get the most out of recommendations, there's a few things you always want to do. Number 1, always plant seeds and do it early. Plant the seeds for them. This is not about you. This is for them. It's about getting their head in the right space. You never want the first time a client hears about referrals to be when you ask for them at the very end. I want it to be something that they think about from the beginning and they think about all the way through. And then by the time we ask for it at the end, they're like, oh yeah, we got to do that thing. I'm ready, right? So when sharing your goals add this in there, right? So you talk about your goals and you say, hey, and by the way, Sally, whether or not you want to buy anything, it's up to you. I'm not high pressure. Actually, my biggest goal is that you enjoy me and you enjoy our time together enough that you'd actually be willing to introduce me to your friends and family, just like how Sally introduced me to you. Now, obviously, you say that last part for people that are referrals that you're seeing. And if they're not a referral, like maybe they're a past customer, maybe they're a family member, somebody on your initial names list or chicken list, whatever, that's fine too. They don't have to be a referral. You just cut out that last part, right? My biggest goal is that you enjoy me and our time together enough that you'd be willing to introduce me to your friends and family, because the only way I show Cutco is through recommendation. That's it, right? And then I always recommend, if you have a story about a client who has given you a lot of referrals in the past, share that with them, right? You want them to know and you want them to feel that this is normal and something that everybody is doing. Hey, you know what? This one time I had a lady give me, 25 recommendations. She earned 2 free pieces of Cutco from me as a way of doing that, or 1 free piece of Cutco, or no free, whatever you do, right? Whatever you do for your clients, tell them what they earn by helping you out at a high level. Right? And what's great is I saw 10 of those people. I sold, $10,000 to those 10 people on those presentations. Every single one of them's happy, referred me to their friends and family, and I won a scholarship because of it. And I was able to save the money that I needed to save to pay off my student loans. And I was able to, put, this much towards my wedding, or this much towards my new car, or this much towards my house. People appreciate strong, confident, people who take pride in what they do, who are also working towards goals, and they want to help you out. So it's good to kind of, paint a vision of what this can be like, not just for them, but for their friends, their family, and for you, and have it all be super positive. At the beginning, if you're doing virtuals, here's another thing that you want to do, right? If you're doing virtuals at the beginning, always have them grab a pen and paper so they can take notes on anything they may want to write down. So, and then I always have them, I'm like, hey, go grab a pen, a paper, and then also make sure your address book or your cell phone are really handy or nearby, okay? And then when they grab that pen and paper, I say, this is gonna be for like if you wanna take notes on anything or write anything down that we're talking about today. Oh, and by the way, go ahead and flip that over and number it from 1 through 25 on the back. Okay, and I'm having them do that. I don't tell them why, and they don't need to know why, right? So if they ask, I'll just be like, oh, we're going to write down your 25 favorite things about Cutco when we're all said and done. It's like a test, right? It's just a quiz. And I'm just kidding, obviously. I'll tell them I'm just kidding about that, but then I just move on, right? So, but at the end, they number it 1 through 25. Now they've got a pre-started list of people, and subconsciously they're already thinking about, like, I wonder what that 25 thing is for. I wonder what that 25 thing is for. Smart people will put it together. They'll be like, oh, they mentioned referrals. Now he's having me do this. Like, oh, okay, this is probably for the referral thing later on. 25 is probably the number I think of, so I need to start thinking about people throughout this, right? So, but you want them to do that, and then just build rapport while they do this. Just ask more questions, get to know them better. Ask questions like, hey, how long you been in the area? What do you guys do for fun? All these sorts of things, right? Then, when you get to the end of the appointment, right? So you plant seeds at the beginning, you have them get out the tools that they need to help them along the way, and then when you get done and you're at the end of the appointment, thank them. Thank them, show them appreciation for their time, their order, appreciate them for helping you get closer to your goals. Even if they didn't buy anything, every appointment you do helps you get one step closer to your goals. Yes or no? It does, right? So every no sale is one step closer to a sale. So just getting the time to show Cutco is helping you get better at showing Cutco, and it helps you get one step closer to your goals. So thank them and appreciate them for that. Make them feel good, okay? And then go right into the approach. So remember, confidence is key here, just like with selling, especially if you're super confident in the selling piece. If suddenly your energy changes and you're all wimpy and like not confident and kind of like, you break eye contact and all of a sudden you start, like just doing weird stuff, right? That you probably don't even notice you're doing. But if your confidence changes in that moment, they're going to think something's wrong and they're not going to be comfortable, right? They have to be comfortable. They have to be confident here, giving you referrals. So listen, you're the only person who sees this list. You're the only person who calls the list. You're the only person for all of it. So if they're comfortable with you, why should they be uncomfortable with their friends seeing you? It just doesn't make sense, right? So I personally make sure leads is where I get most excited and where I'm 100% bulletproof confident. So you do the approach, literally, just like this. Like, hey, John, thank you so much for your order today. I really appreciate it because it's helping me get one step closer to my goal, and that really means a lot to me. Now, there's one more way you can help me out, and this is actually where you can help me out the most. Like I mentioned earlier, I show Cutco to people all the time. I sharpen it for people all the time, but I only contact people I've been personally recommended to. So, so what I need you to do is just jot down 10 to 15,000 people that you know who you think would be nice enough to take a look at Cutco. It doesn't have to be people you think will buy Cutco, just nice people like you, right? So, by the way, you've got that pen and that paper that I had you grab out earlier. Just go ahead and start there and jot down as many as you can think of. I really appreciate your help. Notice how I did it 100% confident and without breaking eye contact. Also, ask big. Think about it like this. If you ask if you ask me how much a paring knife or a set of knives is, and I reply with, it's $67 or it's $3,000, what's your initial reaction? It's usually sticker shock, right? Anytime you give a customer the real price first, it's always sticker shock, right? But instead, I say it's only $10,000, long pause, but then you get everything else in the catalog for free with it. Then what's your reaction? Sticker shock, but it's also kind of funny too, right? And then I back that up with saying, no, I'm just kidding. Actually, that paring knife's only $67. Now, how do you feel about that paring knife being $67? No big deal, right? So when I say 10 to 15,000 people that you know, they get shocked, right? It's like sticker shock. So then later at the end when I say, oh, by the way, I was just kidding, 15 to 20 would be perfect. Now, 15 to 20 doesn't feel like that big of a deal at all, right? In fact, they already have a piece of paper numbered 1 through 25, and they have their cell phone right there. It should not be very hard for them to get to that number. Finally, whatever they write down, celebrate it, and then use thought joggers to help them think of more. So whether they write down 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 20, it doesn't matter. Whatever they write down initially, I celebrate that, and then I go right in with thought joggers. I don't start at the beginning with thought joggers. I wait until they're done with whatever they can think of off the top of their head or whatever they can get out of their cell phone right off the top of their head. And then I go straight to who do they know from blank? Like whatever you learned about them during things like rapport, like, their family. Who do they know? That they're related to? Who do they know from church? Who do they know from school? Who do they know from work? Who do they know from sports that their kids play? Or sports they play? Who do they know from the neighborhood that they've lived in for 30 years, right? Who do they know that likes to cook? Who do they know that likes to buy nice things, that entertains? Who do they know that could afford Cutco if they wanted to? Who do they know that buys nice gifts for people? Who do they know that runs a business? This list just keeps going and going and going. But here's the secret, right? The pro tip, do it one at a time. Don't overwhelm them with 30 different who do you knows, right? Or 30 different thought joggers. Instead, give them one thought jogger at a time. Sometimes they might not know anybody. That's okay. Move on to the next thought jogger. Sometimes they might know 3 people, 5 people, 10 more. I've gotten lists of hundreds of people just by taking the time to do this. And the secret is ask another, ask another, ask another, and you keep asking until they say they're done. This really does work. Finally, if you're doing it virtually, by the way, all of that works if you're doing it face-to-face as well, but when you're doing it virtually, have them take a picture of their list and send it to you right away. Make sure that they include on that list their name, phone number, like of the people they're referring, that you need their name, you need their phone number, you need how they know them, right? And then combine that list that they send you with your notes on whatever they shared with you about those people, and then you start making those phone calls. In fact, what I do is I take my referrals and I put them into my CRM, which is just a systemized way to manage all of my leads, all of my phone calls, and all of my customers, right? And all my follow-up tasks. And if you don't know about Vast Action CRM, I recommend you check it out. It's just vastactioncrm.com. Great way to organize all your customers and your customer list and all that sort of stuff. So, all right. To wrap this up, if you really like this message, there's a lot more where this came from. In fact, I send out audios on a regular basis to people who I have an email for. So if you'd like to get tips and tools from me whenever I have them, let me know. I'll make sure to get you my emails. You can actually just email me your name, your phone number, and your zip code. And my email address is CSP, like Cutco Sales Professional, CSP Josh, Josh, CSP Josh, Josh, at hotmail.com. That's Hotmail, not Gmail, right? Hotmail.com. Send me an email there with your name, your phone number, your zip code, and I'll send you free access to an online archive of over 100 interviews that I've actually done with some of the best reps in the business. So send me that email right now, and my team at Vast Action will get you access to that archive as soon as possible. And then anytime I've got something new to share, I'll make sure that I email it out to you, okay? So today we reviewed the power of confidence and why it's the #1 impactor of your average order. The more confident you are, the bigger orders you will get. The more pride you take in what you do, the better you will do overall. Without confidence, none of this other stuff works. We also talked about step-by-step how to maximize your results anytime that you see someone who has Cutco. And we talked about what it takes to maximize getting referrals all the time, whether you're doing appointments virtually or face-to-face. Now, the only question is, what will make the biggest difference for you? So when you look at your nuggets list, when you look at your notes from my message today, what is going to be the #1 needle mover, the thing that gets you the biggest results the fastest? Maybe it's one thing in each of the 3 areas. Maybe it's just, 10 things you wrote down. Whatever it is, there's no right or wrong answer here. It's just whatever your answer is. Write that down. And then here's my question for you. What can you do moving forward from today to implement that needle mover and get it working for you right now? What can you do moving forward from today to implement that needle mover and get it working for you? Or those needle movers, if you've got multiples, right? And remember, if you try it out and it doesn't work at first, that doesn't mean it won't work at all. It just means you need to practice it more. So keep at it until it does work, because trust me, if I can come from being a socially awkward troublemaker who's not comfortable introducing himself to new people his own age, let alone adults, and get to where I am today, just by combining hard work with implementing the things I've learned from others who came before me, then you can certainly accomplish anything that you want to do. In fact, this whole thing reminds me of a quote. You've probably heard the quote, "Knowledge is power." Well, I've reworked that quote because I believe that knowledge is not the only thing that leads to power. Knowledge only becomes power when it's combined with action. So remember that. Knowledge only becomes power when it's combined with action. So get out there, take action, go have fun, and remember to grow yourself every day, contribute to those around you who need help too, and be grateful for what you do have. And I promise you, the world will continue to conspire to help you continue to get more and more of what you want and what you dream for every single day. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful, awesome day.